Hello all! How is it going, everybody? Rezi Orenji here, y'all's favorite music-loving, orange, yarn-spinning... Sorry, I kind of fucked up the order of that, but everybody's, I'm your favorite music, storytelling catboy, I guess, Rezi Orenji, and I'm here yet again with another Music Talk stream. How's it going, everybody? I hope you all have had a fantastic holiday week. I hope you all have been spending some quality time with your family, or if not, having some quality time to yourself, some time off from work and all that. I've been doing all right myself. My mom came up. We got some dinner for Christmas, and just recently, Hanukkah is still ongoing. I know. I don't exactly practice that right, but I was seeing I was going to Target today, and I the Christmas Hanukkah shelf's still up, but the Christmas Christmas candies, Christmas decorations, they are all on clearance, and so I helped myself to some handy whatchamacallem. What is it? There's like these Reese's peanut butter like Christmas tree shaped things, and like this candy cane full of Skittles. So I've got that to look forward to later. I'm excited. But yeah, no. Music wise, my life's been pretty all right. I'm looking forward to not having to hear Christmas tunes everywhere I go again, and also I love the whatchamacallit. I've been doing a lot of listening to like sort of mid 80s glam period, for preparation of my second glam metal deep dive script, and that's been really fun. A lot of that music hasn't really aged particularly gracefully, but it's still kind of fun and engaging to listen to in that historic sense. So I'm really looking forward to breaking that down. It's a hell of a lot to synthesize, trust me, but I'm going to find a way to make it through, trust me. But anyways, let's move on now to our guest for today. Yet another person that I discovered on BlueSky. He's this engineer-themed VTuber that does a lot of arrangements of J-rock songs, even a few, I think I've seen like a few Western covers he's done, but it's largely J-rock stuff, and it's really cool. I spent a few hours earlier today listening to some of his covers, and he's got a talent. He's got a knack for sure for that sort of working with the guitar to create all these layers and intricate layers and harmonic brilliance. So, would you all please please join me in welcoming Threesky.
Hello, hi. How's everybody? Hi, I'm BlueSky.
How's it going, man? Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, usually I like to start these streams off by asking my guests, sort of open the floor up to them. I'd like to ask them, like, what sparked their passion for music? Because, it's one thing to just sort of casually listen to music on the side, have it as your sort of life soundtrack or whatever. It's another thing entirely to sort of theme your career, your persona around trying to, do something with it, right? So I was kind of wondering where did that stem from for you?
Yeah, no worries. So, for me, it kind of runs in the family, unfortunately. I wasn't able to escape it. So my mom's entire side of the family's been musicians for like their entire lives, and kind of
That's awesome.
stems, I think, at least for my grandmother. So my grandmother is a big pianist, plays in church and stuff, and all her kids ended up becoming like singers or keeping up with music in some capacity. So my mom was a singer through college and such, and she instilled on us at a really young age, like, hey, I want you to do music and enjoy that. So I started with music. I started formally with music around kindergarten or such, but I always had something to play around the house. We always had like a keyboard from as long as I can remember. And I saw some pictures of me with an old guitar that I definitely rockstar smashed over my head a couple of times. hence I didn't learn guitar until much later, but definitely had that exposure, had that like constant introduction and surrounding of music, and the constant support of like, hey, if you want to do music, we'll support you, at least in expressing yourself in that.
That's really cool. Yeah, I don't know if my families have never necessarily been musical in the same way, but both my parents were, at least. I know they were both deadheads. They met sort of doing that circuit together. And my dad, he plays guitar. My mom, she sings really well, and so they were really encouraging of me when I took an interest in music from a young age. I mean, with me, it was more sort of, I started off listening to like video game soundtracks, so it wasn't really even until I discovered like the Rock Band Guitar Hero games that I really got into like music and the history of music and what have you. But they've been nothing but encouraging of me and all my hobbies. So go parents, go encouraging musical parents.
Absolutely. Shout out my dad for putting up with me for however many years that I lived with him and constantly banging on shit in his house.
Oh my god, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I know. Like fucking did you ever have an acoustic drum kit? I know you play like an electric kit, but have you ever like practiced with an acoustic kit in like a parent's house?
I had a first stack kit when I was a wee lad, when I was like the tiniest of tiny. And I'm pretty sure when I broke that initial guitar I was talking about, I'm pretty sure it also involved hitting the kit. Because my dad did a good job of introducing me to like punk music at an early age, so I got to see some of those.
Showed you some of those old Who videos.
yeah, you get to see a lot of those old rock stars really disrespecting the instruments. I don't do that nowadays, but
the lesson to learn there is not to do that until you have a sponsorship.
yeah, exactly. Don't trash your stuff until you can get it back or pay for it.
Yeah,
I mean, for me as well, like with even with the electric drums, I was learning like a lot of more intense stuff and playing on the second floor of my house, so it still resonated throughout the entire house. It was just marginally quieter.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with me right now. I live in New York City, so I can't necessarily have the luxury of setting up a full acoustic kit in my place.
Oh, yeah.
So I just got like this electronic kit, this Elisa's thing that does me fine, and I still, well, at least early on, I got complaints from my downstairs neighbor for, stomping a bit too hard on the kick.
Yeah. No, I was doing double kicks, so just
oh my gosh, yeah,
ramming it through.
I've always wanted to learn double kick, but I don't know. I've never had that level of coordination with my feet.
That's fair enough. It is not the easiest to do.
So as we've been saying, obviously you play a lot of instruments. Like, how did that sort of blossom, as you say, out of your your early musical education, or did you just sort of learn them as you needed to learn them for like songwriting and all that?
Yeah. I think it's a mix of both. I think it's definitely a mix of both. As I mentioned, I started with piano as like my first formal instrument. And really, I think the whole time I wanted to learn something else. I was being introduced, like with what I was saying, I was introduced to a lot of like alt rock, a lot of punk bands through my dad. And so a lot of the music I wanted to play didn't have piano in it, and so I always had this like, hey, I want to learn this instrument, or this, I want to learn guitar, I want to learn drums, because they're the ones that look cool and sound cool.
Yeah.
And so I always had that in the back of my mind. I didn't really get to learn them until later on, but yeah, I always had that going on.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like other instruments I played, they kind of just piled on as I got older. When I started in middle school,
right,
I wasn't given a choice on my elective. It was either I do choir or I do band, and I chose to do band. So with band, I ended up playing French horn, which was something I just I'd remembered seeing in Little Einsteins growing up. Seeing Quincy rock the French horn. At one point, I was like, oh. And I'm
hey,
like,
it's a funky instrument.
For sure, yeah. And so I played that from middle school through high school.
That's cool.
And along the way, picked up the ability to play a couple of different variants on French horn. Because if you don't know too much about French horn, there's like a basic French horn that you have, where like brass instruments have like sets of valves that change the pitch.
Right.
So you have like a single horn, which is one set of valves. You have a double horn, which is two sets of valves. And then you have like alternate versions of the single and double horn where it's like the different sets of valves. And then they have like marching equivalents. So I had to learn all those just through playing and the access of instruments that I had at the time, or like if since I was getting them loaned through the school, if an instrument was in repair, I'd have to switch off to a different one.
That's fascinating. So like,
still the same sound.
They all have like different ranges and everything.
Yeah, the French horn in particular, just the lineage of it. There's a lot of different there's different keys for it, and so like the double horn, which is the one that you see typically, the double horn has it's just a combination of the two main types of horns, which are a B flat and an F horn.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And just combines them. So there's that, and then since the French horn faces backwards, with like its bell, they have for marching band they have forward facing ones. So you have like marching French horns, you have mellophones, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like a smaller sousaphone sort of deal.
Yeah. I would say more equivalent to like a oversized trumpet.
Yeah.
but it's the same sort of deal. Like a tuba faces the wrong direction, so you have to convert it over to something that works, either contrabass or sousaphone. So that was the next instrument I picked up, and then along the way, I think I managed to save up enough money to finally get a guitar.
Oh, nice.
So picked up guitar in high school, and from there, rest is history. I think at this point, I've reached the point where if I want to learn something, I'll probably end up doing it instrument wise, just because I think I've reached the point of no return as a gearhead. To where
no, that's fair. Gear acquisition syndrome's a bitch.
Yeah. I got a melodica finally.
Oh, nice.
Like 2 months ago, so I've learned how to play that. I just got a DJ turntable controller, which is going to eat up my time already. Nice. But it's stuff like that, I think. So like, I would say my main instrument's definitely guitar, and then from there just kind of pick up other stuff around it, and then as you mentioned, like as needed for comms. A melodica was something I had a commission that needed a melodica line.
Oh yeah.
In there, and so I was like, I've wanted to learn this. It's paying enough, so I'm just gonna get it and save offset.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Just so I can have one.
I wish I had more time to like learn instruments. I feel like it's I've already got like a very extensive skill set with the drums for, the past however many years. I'd like to think I've got a solid lock on rhythm, but I don't know, it's tone, it's melody, it's harmony that I've never really been able to, pick up when it comes to instruments. It's a lot more intensive rehearsal and, dexterity than I'm used to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think each instrument has their own different things that you focus on.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I like learning so many. I'll always like tickle in like a different part of my brain, for lack of a better term.
Look, I've tried a few different times at this point to learn guitar, and it's never really stuck, except for like chords. I could do chords just fine. I mean, you show me how to do like a basic 4-chord song, that's all well and good, At the very least, I'd like to eventually build up the skills to be like some sort of rhythm guitar player, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I work a lot with like people who are just learning guitar, stuff like that, and I see what you mean. I do think like a lot of guitar, and I think with any instrument, is just, I think the biggest motivation is finding a song or finding music that you want to play.
Oh yeah,
more than anything else.
absolutely.
So like when I pick up a new instrument, I'm usually looking at a specific song to play or a specific genre to learn, because I know like, hey, I'm not gonna continue playing this if I don't do X or I don't do Y.
Now that absolutely tracks. You know, I was when I started off on drums, well before I took like any sort of lessons, I was just like plugging in with my what is this, 64 gigabyte like iPod Classic or whatever, throwback to that time. And I just plugging in, you know, listening to my favorite songs and just trying to pick up and jam and do whatever I could on the drums. You know, I was basically at that stage transferring my rudimentary skills of like Rockman drums over to like a drum kit. So it was just sort of experimenting, but it was really fun, just sort of, you know, getting that bass understanding by, you know, trying to figure out what my my favorite drummers did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us definitely benefit from, I guess, idolizing a specific musician.
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. I know I'll relate it back to drums because I started playing drums. My dad, I took the opportunity while my dad was on a trip out of the house to buy a drum kit and learn how to play it before he got home, so he wouldn't force me to return it.
That's funny.
It was a fun story. He was visiting my brother who was working out of state, and then by the time he got back, I had a full drum kit and knew how to play music on it. So he's like, damn it.
It followed me home. Can I keep him?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, can I keep him, Dad? He's so cute. But yeah, when I was learning to play that, I ended up like picking and latching onto a couple of different like drummers, and it's like, hey, I really like how this person plays, or stuff like that. Like one of my favorite drummers is the drummer from Bandmade.
Oh yeah, I don't.
She she has like really clean double kicks, and being able to play stuff like that.
Cool.
Has always been inspiring. So like, I'll look at genres I like, and find instrumentalists, guitarists I like. Like guitar, I really like people like Dai is a big metal guitarist for Pale Dusk, or even Daijiro Nakagawa from Giotto. He's a math rock guitarist.
Okay.
And they just have these incredible approaches. So being able to look at these
math
people,
rock is insane.
try to learn some of their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, I could never, I feel like I could never really do what math rock people do, but it is fucking enriching and inspiring to see them play and try to take bits and pieces from them, you know? I remember, what is it? Zach Hill, before he did Death Grips, he was in this one math rock band. I forget what they were called, but I remember seeing, like, one of their videos, and he was just fucking going off on that kit. Like, I don't know, it was like halfway between like a structured song and free jazz almost. It was just insane.
Yeah. No, that's a big reason why I like I like both listening to it and like playing it. I think there's all these like it's very non-conventional sound-wise, but there's a lot of these things that as a musician it really piques my interest and stuff. Brings in like, hey, I'll hear a guitar part, like the most glittery thing ever, and it's like, how the fuck did they play that? And then I'll look it up, and if I find the sheet music for it, I'll cry, and then I'll have to sit down and try to learn it. But it's one of those things, like you look at all these artists, I definitely think math rock is a very inspiring, for sure.
Exactly. You know, you just take what you can and, you know, try to adapt it to your own style. Yeah, so that, I guess that segues pretty naturally. You you sent me a list of your favorite artists before stream. Helped me with thumbnails and questioning and whatnot, which makes me wonder. There was a lot of J-Rock on that list. How did you fall so heavily into that rabbit hole?
Oh yeah, that's a problem. Um, so it has nothing to do with my family.
Yeah.
I remember around 2020 when we were all starting to get locked in and stuff.
Right.
Lockdown. I was really bad at Valorant in particular, and this is gonna sound weird, but it will get somewhere eventually.
Sure.
There was two routes for this. I'll talk about this first one. Actually, we'll talk about the earlier one. So in high school, like right after I picked up guitar, I went like into jazz band, which really helped me with like excelling at guitar or like progressing quickly.
Oh yeah, jazz will do that.
Yeah, jazz will do that. And then just kind of the natural progression of things with the music I was listening to at the time and with the music I was playing at the time, I ended up finding a lot of like Western math rock, Western Midwest emo bands.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them would reference different bands from overseas as like influences. One of the big ones being Toe, which I didn't put on the list, but Toe is a Japanese math rock band, an older one at that. They're definitely on the older side when it comes to the Japanese math rock scene, but I found like their songs and stuff like that was pretty interesting. From there, like listening to Toe, listening to some of the Japanese math rock bands, it went nowhere. So that was just like something that I happened to find out about them. But what really brought my interest into Japanese music was, well, as I mentioned, I sucked at Valorant, and so I started started playing OS. The rhythm game, clicky circle game, to just practice like hand-eye coordination and aiming and reaction stuff. I had also like previously played a bunch of Beat Saber, so I was already like in a state where I really do enjoy rhythm games like that.
Right.
So if you don't know about OS, most of the maps are J-rock or J-pop.
Oh yeah.
Music.
No, I remember OS. I remember when it was called Elite Beat Agents. Shit.
Yeah. So it was kind of natural progression of that. Like the maps they randomly downloaded were a bunch of these like bubblegum pop J-pop songs.
Right. Yeah.
That I ended up liking, or like when I'm scrolling through the beat maps looking for new things to play, I'm like listening to the previews and it's like, oh, this sounds cool, this is a J-Rock song, or oh, this sounds cool, this is Bandmade, stuff like that. And so it ended up simultaneously bringing me a good like big interest in a lot of Japanese music, which I was like mildly aware of a couple things, wasn't like too into it or too frequent in listening, but it definitely brought that into light. And then from there, also some of the songs I found Aoi Shiori by Galileo Galilei.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the bands I put on the list. That would be, I mentioned, or I didn't mention that it was a non like ordered list or anything, but Galileo Galilei, definitely my top band. I ended up watching Anohana.
Just
one of the songs I found on OS.
I think I did hear your cover of that on your channel. Really beautiful stuff.
Yeah. No, that one was a huge thing for me. I think I really wanted to cover the music because I love that band so much. And you wouldn't think I'd listen to it if you saw like the stuff I listen to on a daily basis, but it's something. Something about that band is just like amazing for me. But that's also like how I got into like watching anime and eventually got into like VTubing.
Oh, that's
through
neat.
That route.
Wow, yeah. It's fascinating how much like rhythm games can influence your taste in music, right? Like like I said, I fucking got into rock music in the first place by doing like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and those games back in the day. And I just recently, actually, just this morning, I ordered one of those new PDP Riffmaster guitars that have been manufactured. I want to start getting back into playing like Clone Hero and yet another rhythm game and those sorts of like fan-made music games. Not just, because that shit is fun as hell, but like I remember being like exposed to so much music back in the day, like playing those games, and it'd be fun to have that exposure again, just playing through playing something for entertainment.
Yeah, no, I definitely think like community intensive rhythm games are a big driving force in just a lot of musical exposure. It's also interesting. It's interesting to see how their different like communities develop, or like how the different genres propagate through them. So I think like comparing OST to like Clone Hero and such, Clone Hero definitely has a stronger Western influence in terms of like,
yeah
songs I've seen, versus
no,
OST
definitely.
is the most weeb rhythm game I've ever heard of, outside of like the ones that are literally made by like Japanese companies.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's an interesting contrast to see there, but I totally agree. Like having those community-driven ones where people are making maps, even like Beat Saber mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't really play any of the standard maps, but like there's a lot of community maps that are really good, really well mapped, and have great songs behind them as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that, like you said, Clone Hero doesn't have that much Japanese rep in it among its soundtrack, or at least among its charts, given that the whole, Guitar Hero Rock Band, that was all influenced by Guitar Freaks back in Japan, back in the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah, it is definitely interesting there. Speaking on Guitar Freaks, what was it? I hate playing Guitadora.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
is that another arcade?
I believe it is the drum version of Guitar Freaks. So I think Guitar Freaks in Japan is called Guitadora because they usually attach a drum kit to it.
Right.
I hate it for one reason only. And it's because I know some of the songs on it, and they chart them wrong.
That's always the worst,
And so
isn't it? When you know like something's just off about what you're playing.
Yeah, you'll go in to play it and it's like, wait, why am I losing points on this? I'm playing this like note for note, shot for shot. I'm like,
oh
am I getting
God.
It's the ghost notes and stuff like that. It's frustrating. So it's like I'll always like try to play it, and then I'll always get frustrated and quit.
Right,
because I know that I won't be able to enjoy it as much as I'd like.
Oh my God. I haven't really played many arcade rhythm games recently. I go to cons sometimes and I see them set up, but I never have the desire to really go for it. Some people go crazy about those Taiko games or what have you, but I'm just
Oh yeah, Taiko.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think the only ones I play, I always forget the names of them. Is it Sound Vortex? There's one that has like a capacitive ring around it. Oh no, that's Waka. WACCA. That's one of my favorite ones to play. Like when I'm at a physical arcade, because I think that one wouldn't translate to like a home setup very well. Guitadora, I just always play and always hate playing. There are some like fun rhythm games though, like as I mentioned, Waka. I also Dance Rush Stardust.
Oh yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, the shuffling one really brings me back to 2013 when I didn't know how to actually shuffle or anything.
Oh my gosh.
And I just watched other people learn how to do that.
I was talking with a guest last time about DDR and all that. You have any DDR nostalgia?
I never really got into DDR. I think
that's fair.
it was Yeah, I think something about like the control scheme on it. I think it's the foot pads specifically
Yeah.
just weren't really vibing with me as much as something like Dance Rush, which I think they're the same developers. I think they're both.
Oh yeah. Is that the one where they have the diagonal arrows?
No, so Dance Rush is the one where it's another capacitive
Okay.
game. They have like a giant pad, like it's a single pad, and you line up and like shift weight on it.
I see.
And it's straight up like shuffling. If you've seen, you might have seen some videos of people doing like trade-off parts on it, where they know a map so well they'll like turn around, spin around during the map, and then like do like a cycle with other people to just run in and tag team it.
That's nuts.
That's one of the ones that I do enjoy. I don't look good doing it. I'll admit. I think anyone.
You kind of have to leave your cringe at the door with that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you listen to a lot of, other Japanese groups beyond J-rock, or what are your favorite Western acts too? Like, what other music do you like?
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I think I do listen to a lot of Japanese music in particular. I think
Right.
One of the things I've been really like focused on is always like finding small artists. I use a lot YouTube suggestions in particular, and it just brings me around to like random artists.
Absolutely.
I think like I listed a bunch of J-rock artists, and I think some of the artists on there are definitely more underground or like more J-poppy.
Yeah, no, I was going around trying to look at them up on Wikipedia, and like very few of them had Wikipedia pages. I was like,
yeah, exactly. It's a bunch of like a lot of them end up being like super small to where I do run into difficulties where my friends don't know about the artists I listen to.
Right, yeah.
So I'll find some like tiny artists that I just really love the music for. Like I mentioned, Stargaze Shelter, they're more of a dream pop.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And they're tiny. They're like just internet dream pop that I found. I think that one was just like Spotify Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
And then stuff like that. I'll listen to like Vocaloid and some like EDM stuff. I do enjoy myself a good like future bass album, stuff like that. And then like in terms of like Western stuff, it's a lot of rock music as well. I have some friends that are in bands, so I'll listen to their stuff.
Yeah.
I do enjoy. I'll admit I enjoy some of my friends' music. I can get annoyed with the production sometimes, but
it's fine. DIY production is it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is. And then I mean, in terms of like the concerts I go to are definitely more of the J-rock stuff, or like EDM. I mentioned Porter Robinson on my list. I've seen him twice. Really love his music.
Yeah.
But he's also strongly influenced by Japanese music.
Interesting.
At the same time, though, like if I'm out and about, if there's a band playing, I'll always check out what they're playing. Stuff
That's
like that.
good. Always fun to support local music.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy going to house shows. Time to time, I'll listen to like some reggae, some ska stuff.
Nice.
Just kind of, I try to keep like some variety. Just
absolutely.
In there.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to
looking for more.
It's good to have like an ear out to all sort of styles. You never know what you might pick up. What was I gonna say? So I guess we can pivot to talking about like the music you do. You've done quite a few covers, like I said earlier. I've listened to a few of them in the run up to the stream, and I think you have quite the knack for instrumental arrangements. Do you have any particular favorites among like the covers you've done so far?
Yeah, I definitely do. Let me pull up what covers I've done, because I've done a bunch, and then I also have a bunch that haven't been released. So I have to remember like what's been released, what's been finished, what do I ever want to release.
Right.
I definitely think like my most recent one, Orange, so aptly named. Orange by Spire. I did a cover of that. That's been like one of my favorite ones that I did.
Nice.
It was a big thing for me. I think it was my first instrumental where I really brought in strings into the mix.
Oh, okay.
I usually, with my instrumentals, I'm usually just doing live instruments, doing what I know, what I love.
Right.
But with Orange, I think I heard the song and I was just like, I want to learn how to do this. I looked at it and just took it as a challenge. And it was originally just going to be like a practice instrumental. I don't do anything with it, but I ended up recording the vocals. And then I was like, you know what? These sound kind of good. So I'll offset that to a mixer. So that one's a big one. I did Easier to Love You by Porter Robinson as well. That was my previous cover to it.
I think I heard that one. That was really good.
Yeah, that one was a lot of very, very emotional cover for me. So like being able to bring a lot of that, a lot of the emotion that he brings into the song, I felt like I connected a lot with it and was able to do a great cover with that.
Absolutely.
Those would definitely be like my top ones right now.
Welcome, RC.
And then, hey, yeah, and then I think like in terms of one that holds a lot in my heart otherwise, my Vondi cover. I always like looking back at that, or sorry, my Odoriko cover, because I have a couple Vondi covers. My cover of Odoriko was the first instrumental I did. And that came out of a weird place of necessity. I heard the song, I was like, ooh, I love this song. And then I looked it up and it's like, no one has an instrumental for this. Fuck. So in my infinite wisdom, I'm like, yeah, I can make an instrumental for it.
Hey, there you go.
So that kind of sparked a lot there. And I've been kind of cruising with it ever since. But it holds a lot to me, being able to have that song be such a like driving force in like what I do, why I do things.
Absolutely.
Because I ended up like redoing the cover or redoing the vocals for it for a later cover. So that I would have like just something to look back on. Because I think it was like a 2-year progression.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years after I redid the vocals for it, just to see where I've improved, and it's like a cool way to have like a baseline.
Oh, that's sweet.
As well.
So do you have any plans on releasing more covers into the future, or even originals like on streaming, or?
Good question. Yeah, originals. I don't know if I'm gonna release any originals anytime particularly soon. I do like songwriting, but I don't do it very much.
Right.
Just with like my busy schedule, with commissions and stuff, with other like personal projects that I work on, or like CBs, stuff like that.
Right.
Definitely goes on to the wayside. Hopefully, I mean, by the end of 25, I do get to release some original music of some sort.
Oh yeah.
One of the goals I have moving forward is like working on more original music. And being
hang on,
to,
RC. Let me get a 3Skis channel for you.
Yeah. You can find me. My YouTube is at 3Ski. Just at 3SKI.
Yeah, I guess I can put that in the chat later. I usually drop the link in the channel towards the end of the stream. But it's the channel at 3Ski, and he does pretty good. He's pretty cool arrangements of these J-rock songs. A lot of intricate guitar layering. How do you achieve that effect? Like, what's your process like for that when figuring out how to arrange a song?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's sometimes where I'll usually use like a mix of what I can hear in a song and what's readily available tab-wise. One of the reasons I'll cover certain songs versus others is they have a available like resource for me to reference. As much as guitar is my main instrument, there's a lot of stuff where I might not be able to hear certain things as well. And so I rely on a good mix of like there's a couple reliable channels that I watch on YouTube where they do guitar tabs to make it easier for me to understand what's going on with the guitars.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll add in extra layers or I'll do like doubles on it. It really depends on the song. And then again, like what I'm hearing or where I want things to go. Sometimes I'll add in like a little bit more for myself. In terms of like, I'll add a little bit more guitar in certain areas if I think like, hey, it would benefit from this, just to fill out the mix a little bit more. But yeah, that's the big part.
Yeah, that's nice. Are there any types of songs you more naturally gravitate toward, or is it just do you tend to keep an open mind when deciding what to tackle?
Yeah, I try to keep an open mind. I think a lot of what I cover ends up being rock just naturally.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what I listen to a lot, but I've definitely done a bunch of other genres.
Yeah, I did see like a few rap things on your channel, I think.
yeah. I have a couple of Creepy Nuts covers.
Right.
And I think I did instrumentals for like 2 of them. Yeah, and that one, that's an interesting one. I think that just stems from me liking that band.
That
band, and they had some stuff like, oh, that would be cool to practice, cool to make the instrumental for.
Absolutely.
But I'll do stuff like that. I have a lot of unreleased stuff that probably won't get released, but there's a good mix of like there's a good mix of like J-pop in there as well. I did a jazz instrumental for one of my friends. They covered From the Start by Leve.
Oh, nice.
And I ended up getting that commission and working with that. That's obviously more of a jazz song, more of a bossa nova, stuff like that. And then, yeah, I mean, I try to mix in a good mix of things.
Very cool.
A lot of what I do, like commission work wise, isn't really J-rock as much, because it's generally not as popular,
right,
to cover. But I think I can use the same approach at the end of the day.
Definitely.
I had a commission for like a full orchestral arrangement of an instrumental that's just a full orchestral arrangement, and I managed to crunch that one out. But in the same approach, it's look up for resources about it, like where, if it's already written out, where can I find those parts and find the way to perform them.
Absolutely.
And then work from there, building if I think I need to like add a certain thing here, add something else there, I'll do all that as much as possible.
What's your favorite part of doing this arranging, or your least favorite?
My favorite part's being done. being done with it all, not having to worry about it as much, the final delivery.
No, it's a hassle
until
then.
It can definitely be intensive.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is when I really get like into the groove of like, especially laying out guitar parts and stuff.
Yeah.
Having that like moment where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just crunching now, like, and like,
yeah, absolutely.
Just
flow state.
Yeah, flow state. We're like racking take after take out. And then like my least favorite probably has to be piano and instruments that I'm not the best at. Piano especially, like if I don't have a visual reference, I usually try to look at like live performances, see if I can spot anyone playing anything, so that I can translate that to where should my hand be and what notes might they be playing. But piano is definitely like the one that takes the cake for probably the most tedious instrument to do. Drums can be like annoying rhythmically, but piano is like you have to find the rhythm, find the chord, and then hope that you got it right on there. So definitely my least favorite part. Not to say that it's the worst thing ever,
I'm with you there. Quantization's a bitch. I do drum covers from time to time, and I have like MIDI input on my kit, so I try to record MIDI and like generally edit it to be as clean a performance as I can, but there's eventually a point where I get so in the weeds with the moving the beats around and trying to get them to perfectly line up that at a certain point I'm just like, fuck it, ship it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I think my last couple of commissions and covers had a lot more keyboard, a lot more strings and stuff, just stuff that I don't play regularly or don't play live, which definitely puts like a little bit of a extra strain on my brain.
Oh yeah,
when I'm crunching something out.
Oh yeah. What sort of what sorts of tools and plugins do you use for your work? I think I saw something on your BlueSky recently that you were switching to Reaper.
Yeah. So really depends on purpose. At this point, I've spent the past like 4 years using Ableton, and I do enjoy Ableton still. I think there's a lot of benefit to it. I run all my like live audio on Ableton, so what you're hearing right now is stupidly heavy on the processing. And that's running through Ableton, and then other things, and then I usually still do all my instrumental work in Ableton.
Nice.
Just because Ableton has a really good MIDI editor that I enjoy. My workflow on it's pretty good as well. I did admit, with Reaper, I've switched over to Reaper, or I'm working on switching over to Reaper for a lot of like mixing, and specifically more towards vocal mixing. So when I do a cover, if I'm laying out vocals, if I'm recording vocals, I want to be doing those in Reaper. It's just boils down to like the tools they have available.
Interesting.
So
I'll have to ask you for some pointers on. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, keep going.
I'll have to ask you for some pointers on that sometime, because I do my own vocal covers on my channel from time to time, and that's another area that I kind of struggle to get 100% right, is the vocals.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways to edit, but yeah, Reaper has a lot more functionality when it comes to vocal editing and like timing and tuning in particular, and mixing. I like the workflow that Reaper offers a lot more.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's really the main reason why I've switched over to Reaper for a lot of different processes. With timing and tuning, shout out Melodyne as well. That's like my favorite plugin. Really makes my voice sound less shitty.
Man, your reasoning is so well reasoned. I just sort of use Reaper because it's free.
Yeah. There's a lot you can do with Reaper for a low cost, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the big reason why I switched over to Reaper is again those tuning and timing features. The timing's a lot cleaner on Reaper than it is on Ableton. And then on top of that, they have ARA support, which I'll get into a little bit of the weeds here because I just have like that technical background, but
sure,
ARA allows Reaper to ARA allows plugins to analyze the audio that's coming into it in real time, or like as it's edited. So specifically for Melodyne, it means that you can edit the notes without having to have the plugin like register or import the audio. It just kind of automatically gets imported.
I see.
Which is really nice. Coming from Ableton, where I'd have to play through the track just to import the audio into Melodyne and then hope that it came in cleanly, or that I had the right takes, or if I edit a take or recomp something, then I have to redo the import.
Okay. So it's just a bit more efficient for you.
Yeah, it's more efficient. And then, as I mentioned, it's a little easier to do some other things like routing in Reaper is really, really nice. And it's really easy to set up like buses and different tracks because they're all the same type of track.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I still have a long ways to go in terms of knowing what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to properly mixing things, but it's certainly a rewarding process to learn that. I remember taking a class on acoustic recording ages ago when I studied abroad somewhere, and that was fun, getting to try. I think our final was like trying to get a proper piano recording, but I accidentally kind of fucked up the signal to noise ratio.
Yeah. You gotta love that.
It's whatever though. Oh, what was it gonna? Oh yeah. So I guess I did see on your channel you've made a few audio tutorials in the past. Were those prompted by anything in particular, or you just like sharing your knowledge?
I think it's a mix of both. Give me 1 second. You get some water.
No problem.
As I mentioned, I run my audio through Ableton in real time, like my stream audio. And those tutorials, I do keep them up, but they are kind of outdated, not gonna lie.
Right.
I've changed my setup there. But it boils down to, I think, the people I work with and the stuff that I do audio wise. I ended up, when I first kind of picked up how to do that audio routing, which I don't know how I fucking learned how to do that, because looking back at it, it's stupidly complicated. But when I first picked it up, it was I managed to get to a point where I'm able to do real-time karaoke with like no delay. My audio sounds clean.
Hell yeah.
And like I can do like vocal processing. Like if I press a button in here, I can turn on reverb and feed it through a Discord microphone.
Oh jeez.
That's not something most people can do, or not something that most people's computers are set up to do. But
yeah.
And it's something that I had the knowledge. I had some friends that were looking to get set up with that too. So after spending way too many hours doing like one-on-one consultations and stuff, I figured like, I could probably put like a quick tutorial on how to do this, because it's not too difficult. And then I ended up posting one of them's like 2 hours, isn't it?
yeah, something like that.
I'll say quick in quotations, but one of them successfully long. But yeah, I had the knowledge. I was already spitting it out to some people. So just being able to enable people and like let them know like, hey, you don't have to settle for the shittiest audio quality you can running through OBS.
Yeah.
You don't have to have like extreme delays or anything on that. Being able to let people know that that's an option was a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's always fun when I see VTubers trying to share their own technical wisdom with the rest of the community. I think there's definitely a market for that, because God knows how many people are always coming in as, new VTubers, PNG tubers, B-Roid tubers, etc., and they need that sort of knowledge to catch them up. I think there's definitely a market for that.
Yeah, definitely a market. I also think one of the driving factors is I dealt with enough streams where people's audio sounded like hot garbage, and my ears hurt a little bit. So I'm like, I can fix you.
I was much like that back in the day. Oh my god, yeah, I didn't know shit about bouncing a stream's audio.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn. I think that's one of the few things people don't realize is like, well, seems the most obvious or the easiest to get over, it's also like one of the most necessary. I'll mention it like as someone who streamed as a PNG for forever. If you're a PNG, you got to rely on everything but visuals to hold people's attention.
Oh yeah.
And next thing after visuals, because you don't have like insane physics or anything, or like even like bouncing anything, it's just gonna be audio. You're gonna rely on like, how do you sound, how does everything sound in comparison to you, and just emphasizing. I always like to emphasize there's a huge importance on that, and
absolutely
you'll see plenty of people talking about videos and why audio matters on that. They'll even show like a video where it's the crunchiest video possible with like good audio, and you'll think higher of it than a like 4K video with the crunchiest audio possible.
That's interesting. So I was gonna yeah, I guess the other question from that was, would you ever consider doing more tutorials? I guess since now your workflow's updated and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I might. I think. Well, I do think I could do more tutorials. I think more and more when I talk to people, when I see, and I still like help people from time to time.
Right.
That I'm like friends with or like get recommended by friends. I'll help out
Mm-hmm,
there.
mm-hmm.
The more I kind of view that and like what people are looking for, I think the less necessary I think a tutorial like that is.
Yeah.
And I think it's only solely because I have a objectively overcomplicated setup. I have very unique audio needs from my position, from what I do. And my audio setup is very unique to myself. It's not necessarily a one-stop shop for everybody. It's designed very specifically to fit what I need, both on stream and off stream. So like
that's true. Yeah.
Some things I've developed it for is I have a MIDI pad that I keep next to my desk that has faders and buttons, and so my audio setup is designed to work with that. So I can do live mixing or balance out audio that comes to my ears versus to stream and rebalance that, or like being able to run like live guitars and such into my audio setup is a big thing for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Live mixing.
Yeah, live mixing, stuff like that. And a lot of people aren't looking for that. So I think, I can do an audio setup, another like rundown of my audio setup. I don't think many people are looking for what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's
at the level that I'm doing it. I think for me, I think I'd benefit more from offering like private consultation, and I have some friends who do offer private consultation. It's something I'm considering
You're far beyond
bringing up.
You're far beyond music audio engineering 101 at this point. You're probably like the 301 course.
Yeah. I think, I definitely think like what I'm doing isn't necessarily something that everyone needs. So I can benefit. I think the resources are better used on addressing just an individual basis, just letting other people figuring out like what's a good audio solution for what you need.
Welcome, Jukebox Cowboy. Sorry that I'm just seeing your message now. Happy holiday season and everything like that. Look at that. That reminds me, 3Ski, did you get anything cool for the holidays?
One more time. Sorry.
Did you get anything cool for the holidays?
Yes, as I mentioned, I got a turntable controller.
Oh shit.
And my family is lucky that I don't live with them anymore because
oh my god, have you just been going ham on the DJ?
I've been trying to brute force my way through learning it. It is exceptionally difficult, I think. As someone who plays multiple instruments, this doesn't line up with most of the instruments you'll be used to playing. It's a lot more of like, I think with instruments and stuff, when you do things, it's gonna change it on like a immediate basis, right? And like when you do things, there's an immediate reason to do it.
Right.
With turntabling, with DJ work, it's a lot different in terms of the order of things. It's a lot more prep work.
Right, because you got to do things to set them up in advance, right?
Yeah, you got to do things to set them up in advance. It's a lot more, even like picking the order of songs is suddenly important. Like I've been working I've only had it for like 4 or 5 days, but what I've been working at in particular has been trying to iron out just a short little set where it doesn't sound like it's just like roughly switching over and over.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to pick all these songs, pick where do I transition, where do I start this other song, how do I fade it in, what do I do as a transition, like do I do like a loop transition, something like that, do I blend them in together, do I swap stems, stuff like that. it's such an interesting approach to music, and I always like doing something like that. As I mentioned, like finding something that really drives you to play music is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Something that inspires you. I think for me to like want to keep doing music, I always want to challenge myself.
Oh yeah.
Find something that I can't do, and either get better at it or at least get an understanding of what's going on with it, what I can do to improve there.
Hey, yeah, I mean, there's always room for more VTubing DJs out there, and I think I spoke with somebody a few weeks back on my stream. They did like a sort of DJ set it in like VR chat. That's very much something that that you could do if you know, when you get better and, you know, start banging out the sets.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know what I'm really aiming for with the DJ thing. Definitely, I think it's something I just skill wise want to learn.
Oh yeah.
And maybe down the line
Just have it
monetize
in
that,
your
get a little
pocket.
extra money. Yeah, exactly. A little party trick is like, oh yeah, let me go. It's like, you DJ? Oh yeah, let me go to my car and grab my PA, my laptop, a whole table, my turntables, and just
Oh my
like, you know,
God.
pull it out like for a party trick.
Yeah, absolutely. Superbest got me vinyl. Miles Davis to Sturgill. Ooh, that's nice. A lot of jazz on vinyl. That's beautiful. I'm not much. I'm unfortunately not much of a vinyl collector myself. I wish that I had my own record player. I mean, I know in my background in my videos, it seems like I do, but I actually don't. I don't have much of a record collection.
I've never really gotten into vinyl myself.
Oh yeah.
Think it's a weird thing. I think you'd expect. I think with knowing the hobbies that I do, the amount of music that I listen to, you think I'd to some degree have an interest in vinyl. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a CD guy.
That's fair.
I'm not embarrassed to say it. That's the other thing I got for Christmas. I got a portable CD player.
Oh, very nice.
Because I have one of the few things I collect other than gear is I collect Japanese CDs, like Japanese import CDs, because they are one of the few countries that is still producing CDs. Like in 2024.
Yeah.
Into 2025. So I have a bunch of CDs that I either import or have. If a friend's visiting Japan, I'll ask them to like, hey, can you pick me up X album because the yen is down and I don't want to pay for shipping. So like, can you pick me up X album and send it over to me? I have a friend in Japan right now. There's like 3 albums he has to send me over from his last trip too.
Nice.
It's stuff like that. I just enjoy that. Or if like at a concert for a band, I'll pick up a CD if they have one.
That's awesome. You know, whatchamacallit, I got a CD for my mom this Christmas, actually. She's super into The Cure, and their latest album, I went over to this one record store, and they had like a 3 CD edition of it. You know, one for the standard album, one for like an instrumental version of the album, and then like a Blu-ray for like a really high def version. So I was just like, ooh, that'd be really fun to get. So, you know, I got that for her, and she was really appreciative, but she also, you know, confided to me that she wasn't sure how she'd play it beyond, like, you know, using it in the car, because all of her computers now, they don't come with CD players anymore. It's a shame.
Yeah, no, my old car had a CD player, and that's how I used to listen to all my CDs. And then I ended up swapping that out for a car that doesn't have a CD player, so I've been kind of sitting on like a whole plethora of CDs that I can't really play because I just don't have the equipment for it. And that's why I specifically asked for a CD player. It's like, I enjoy listening to music at work, and so I keep my collection at my desk there, and it's just having something to play it on while I'm crunching away is nice, and then just change out the CD every once in a while. Something just enjoy. I enjoy high definition audio that doesn't skip or doesn't wear down as much as vinyl.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I used to have a pretty big CD collection myself. I stored all of it under this like fucking ottoman that I sat down on when I was using the computer back in my old house, but I don't know what the hell's happened to it. It's probably still, you know, at my mom's house, but I don't know. I haven't bothered picking it up. Like part of my when I used to when I used to have a big music collection on iTunes, it was like part of that was the CD collection I amassed. The other big part of it was piracy, but we don't need to we don't need to discuss that.
It was allegedly piracy. Remember.
It was It was done by an imposter, Resi, evil Resi. He downloaded the songs, not me.
The music was acquired. I will not delve further into how it was acquired.
It was out of my hands. Let's see. So I guess kind of circling back to your instrumental knowledge, what instruments would you learn now if you had the spare time?
If I had the time.
Because you said you are still like learning some simple stuff to go with what you're doing, but if there's anything more complex you wanted to learn.
Yeah, I think there's definitely instruments I'd love to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I would love in particular, and I don't think I'll ever have the time, money, or brain power to put aside for this, but I'd love to learn accordion. Specifically like button accordion.
Oh yeah.
And it stems from I mean I love listening to like squeeze box accordion pieces, like they're all super cool.
Interesting.
But it stems from this one, I saw this one YouTube or like this one video where this guy had created, essentially it's more of a melodica at the end of the day, but it's based off like button accordion, which is just a different way to like arrange the keys and everything. But he created like a MIDI version of it and ended up like just spitting out some like really smooth jazz lines on it on a synth. I was like, that would be awesome to learn.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like my top instrument, and then I think banjo would be fun.
Oh god, banjo would be awesome. I think I had a friend who used to, play banjo and stuff, was very bluegrass inspired and just playing in general.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. I think either playing bluegrass or even like figuring out a way to introduce that into my own music is always something I would like to do. Like when I was doing the Porter Robinson cover, I did consider borrowing a banjo from a friend.
Oh yeah.
Because there is like a banjo part that's like
right. Slow banjo.
I definitely considered picking one up, or at least using one to learn the line, see what I can do with it. It's been something I've been eyeing for a while. Maybe down the line I'll get a banjo, but the big issue I have with it is banjos are really loud. Just as an instrument, they're not very quiet.
I like this guest. Well, go follow him, Jukebox. His name is 3ski, and he does some pretty cool covers.
Yes.
Let's see. So I guess getting into like the sort of streams you do. Have you ever done like music practice streams before?
Yeah, I have done music practice. I've done music production streams.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
A lot of what I stream is actually not music, and I think that's just due to a number of things. I think it's very difficult to chat and walk the fuck in at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
That's been a big thing for me, not doing like music production. But I do try to do like karaoke streams every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
And if I'm doing a karaoke stream, I'll usually pull out a guitar because I'll have some tracks that don't have an instrumental, or I prefer to rekey the instrumental in a way that doesn't sound good if I just repitch it.
Yeah.
I'll do stuff like that. And then I think I had I did do, and maybe I'll bring it back. I did do a stream where I was just practicing guitar for my band. But those ones can get kind of repetitive because I don't change the set list for my band all that much.
Right, yeah. No, that makes sense. You have an IRL band?
Yeah, I do have a IRL band. We don't really do much.
Oh, dope.
But it's a bunch of me and my friends just play anime music.
Hey, it's always good to have an outlet like that.
Yeah. It was something I was like wanting to do for a while, and I just happened to find the right group of guys who I happened to all play with in high school, which was the funniest thing. So
there you go.
They were all just people I was already in bands with before, so I just invited them on. It's like, hey, you wanna do these weeb songs? I'm like, sure.
That's always fun having bands like that. You know, I'm in a band right now where we all sort of met in college, and we're still together like all these years later. It's fun having that level of sort of chemistry and, you know, understanding of each other's musical ability at that point.
Yeah, that's always always a big thing. I will say, like with my current band, I definitely feel like I'm the odd one out in terms of musical skills. I always feel like I'm the one lagging behind, so I got to pick it up by being the singer or like doing other things on the side.
Hey, I mean, we all contribute how we can.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, when you do karaoke, do you put the song list together yourself, or do you allow chat to request things? Is it sort of a mix of both?
It's more of just an open request thing.
Oh, okay.
I'll do what chat wants. I'll do what I just feel like in that immediate moment. I think down the line, it is something I want to do. I want eventually to do like a full-on concert,
right?
Style stream, and stuff like that. I want to do in a bigger way. I think there's a lot that I can do with concerts, and I've seen a lot of my background aside from like instruments is like behind the scenes, like routing and like audio support for people.
Like, are you trying to do like a 3D concert at some point?
If I get a 3D model, yes.
Oh,
that's something I want to do. Something I want to do with that in particular is like down the line, if I have the ability or the time to prep it, I want to do like a full-on, like over the top production stream. Because in addition to like I mentioned, like my audio routing is insane. Right. One of the things my audio routing does for me and allows me to do in particular is I can set up my effects to be automated onto an instrumental. And so if I need to put like background tracks and stuff in there for like harmonies, or I need to like add like a distortion effect in the middle of a song, I can pre-program that into like a Reaper set.
Okay.
And do that. And then on top of it, something I figured out, which would take a lot more work on my part, is with that I can pass MIDI in real time and use that to control the stream.
Oh wow.
So in theory, in theory though, what I want to do, and it will take forever to do, and I don't know if I'd be the one to do it myself, but that would be setting up like a whole Reaper project where it's a set list of a bunch of different things, and it allows me to select a song, play that song. I get like a click track going to my ears so that no one else hears it.
Okay.
I'll get like the instrumental to my ears, and then everyone else is just getting finished polished product. And then I, at the same time, automate like camera swaps, effects, visual effects on OBS, have all that coordinated in time for the music.
Dude, that'd be sick if you could pull that off.
Huge. Yeah, because I have some friends who have done stuff like that, but they do it with a video in the background.
Oh, yeah. No, I love
But,
following. I don't
yeah.
know if you know Shindigs, that one VTuber. I love
Yeah.
following him and seeing like all the fucking
Yes.
crazy shit that
That
people get up
was
to in OBS.
that was the big thing. Shindigs, I've been following him for a number of years.
Oh, nice.
That's actually where I got the idea for the automated MIDI
Oh, nice.
changes, because he did a couple months ago. He did something where he was controlling stream visuals with like a looper pedal, or with like a drum machine, right? He had a little drum machine sequencer, and it was sending MIDI signals in, and so he had different areas light up when the different MIDI signals came in.
That's cute.
And knowing how he routed that, I realized that I had a way to do it.
Hell yeah.
In a similar fashion, because I have my computer set up for like internal MIDI routing and stuff. So like I have digital MIDI sequences, like digital MIDI wires running through my entire computer. These are hypothetical, not physical things, but
right,
like,
right.
I have MIDI communication from like most of my control softwares to OBS.
Yeah,
and like between them. So it's stuff like that, I think, is a huge inspiration for me and something I do want to eventually do.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely lit. You know, the things that indie VTubers can get up to with enough, know-how in OBS. Like, I see, so much hype around these big agency VTuber concerts, and that's all well and good. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum there, but like, just the wave of talent that we're about to see these coming years from independent talents, I can't wait for it to see what we're able to do just by ourselves.
Absolutely. I've been to some of the like larger VTuber concerts, and they're great, but they also have like a massive crew behind them, and I know how some of the other like produced VTubers work. Like they do have active crews. It's and that's a big thing for me, because I can't really afford to do all that other stuff. Like I learn a lot of stuff myself. I learn to do stuff with limited resources, but to the max that I can do. Like, so it's definitely something to look at, and maybe I might even like consider it for like 2025, like getting a couple of friends, because I have friends who mix and stuff, getting them on board to do like do a stream like that. Where they can help out with mixing on like just a smaller scale. Obviously, I don't need to make it like the most insane thing, but something like that would be cool.
Hey, it'd be fun just to do like even like a coffee house sort of open mic thing. Like I don't know exactly how that would work, but you know, general chill, low stakes vibes. Yeah, get that right, and you can move on to the big concerts.
Oh, sorry, my audio cut out for a sec. One more time.
No problem. I was just saying, you get out. How to say, you get that intimate atmosphere, right? I'm sure you can move on to like the fucking biggest stadiums, so to speak. I mean, metaphorical stadiums. Yeah.
It's kind of just start where you can, but definitely shoot for the stars. I definitely gonna resonate with that, and it's something I do want to do.
And so I guess to that extent, I'm wondering, what inspired you to become a VTuber, and like, what do you hope to eventually do as a musician in the community?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think with me coming to VTubing, it was more of like an interest in the technologies.
Okay.
A lot of my background is like technical computer work,
right?
And then music. So for me, I mean, when I started watching like VTubers, it was more of the corpos and stuff.
Right.
But I was always interested in like, wow, this is working out really well. I'm curious how people do this. And it ended up being, I think, I obviously didn't get in, but I remember there was like a time when Niji was doing auditions.
Yeah.
Years ago. And just some streamer I was watching was talking about it, and they're like, oh yeah, you should apply. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to apply, see what's up with that. And then that just like is like, I'm not gonna get into this. Like, I'm not gonna get into the corpo. But what it did for me is like, even if I don't get into the corpo, it put in like, I could probably produce myself.
Yeah.
Make myself do something. And
exactly.
Like, it doesn't have to be the biggest thing. It's just I can be. I guess I could be someone. Be more than just like my IRL self. And that's really what drove it. It was just like, just being able to be someone more than just who I was on a daily basis, not leaving my house.
Yeah, no. that's exactly
like
where
that.
I was too. You know, like I say this. I feel like I tell this story a lot. Well, I tell a lot of stories a lot. I repeat shit, but I actually got into VTubing like summer 2021. Like when I got my stimulus check. I spent it all on a good PC rig and a microphone. And that's how I got into VTubing. I from there I just sort of, I don't know, I tried being a variety streamer before I realized, you know, I wasn't any good at that, and sort of pivoted to more long form, I guess, weekly stream content.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different ways to approach it. I mean, I had similar boat. I had most of the gear already for like my stuff, just from other random purchases, but it was a lot of that like, let's try to do something. And I had a similar bout where I did try streaming like just as face cam. It was like, yeah, not really my thing. At the end of the day, I think I was able to be more free, or at least feel less pressure, being more behind a model, being behind a PNG.
Yeah.
Can't say I'm not glad I did it.
No, it's definitely
some of my best friends through this.
I definitely feel a lot more confident doing than I ever have been doing a content creator, being a VTuber, I think. Hope y'all have a dope New Year's Eve where you'll be at 12. I don't know. I'm probably just sort of spending my New Year's inside. I don't really have any plans at the moment. You three ski, what are you up to?
I don't really celebrate New Year's.
Oh no.
It's something I mentioned. It's my least favorite holiday. I mentioned how arbitrary it is, like, to my friends, and just complain about it. So I don't really celebrate it. I just kind of sit around the house, and for me, it's like, why are you staying up till midnight for special occasions? I'm already like, I'm always up till midnight or later.
Oh my
anyway,
god.
So it's just like, this is just a normal Tuesday night for me.
Yeah. See, that's my problem with it this year, is that it's in the middle of the fucking week. If it were on a weekend, I'd be a lot more looking forward to it. As it is, it's just a minor inconvenience in the middle of my work week that I have to sort of reschedule my usual work hours around.
It's exactly, that's why I dislike it. It's like, it's inconvenient for what I see is no reason. It's like, why are all these stores closed on a Tuesday?
Yeah. Oh my
There's
god.
no reason for them to be closed.
And I practically I have to avoid Manhattan all of that day. Well, oh shit, I'm gonna be going into Manhattan for work on Tuesday. God help me.
Oh, that sucks. I already don't like Manhattan enough as is. Every time I've been to New York, it's just like, it's not the best. I think though, as long as you avoid like the big areas, I think Times Square is super overrated.
Yeah. There's a lot of foot traffic.
I try to avoid the tourist areas, or at least like walk a block around them if I can help it.
Yeah. I always eat 12 grapes at midnight. Spanish tradition. Interesting. I have never heard of that. Though then again, there are all those like sort of meme traditions where it's like, if you play X, X minutes before midnight, it'll sync up right when X happens. And I want to find a good one of those. Exactly. I think that's something that I can do for myself.
Wasn't there one like if you marathon the Lord of the Rings movies starting like 2 days before?
Oh my
They're
god.
starting at like 3 p.m. It will line up exactly at whatever he says, some like stupid line. It's like
that sounds incredible. Mind if I go refill my water real quick? I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Cool.
I'll keep them in check.
Just pull up a water and
All right, now that he's gone. I don't know why I did that voice like that. Let me see what I can do, chat. Chat, you want me to play a guitar for you? Wait, let me pull something out. Wait. Streamer gone. Post cats in chat. Here we go. Oh shit, I left my tuner on here. That's fun. Yeah, let's... I'm too lazy to plug this in, but you guys can get a little bit. So I hopped on a train 3 in the afternoon.
Alrighty, I'm back. Where?
Oh, he's back, you guys. Guys, hide it. Hide the trash talk.
Are you composing a diss track in my own stream?
Yeah, exactly. I was going Kendrick on you.
How dare. Anyways, let me see. What else did I have? It's cute. Oh! I haven't asked the concert question yet. Have you gone to a lot of, I think you did mention you've gone to, a lot of concerts before. Do you have a lot of fun concert memories?
I do. I try to go concerts a lot, quite a bit. I think, I have plenty of fun ones and I have plenty of not so fun ones.
Right.
But yeah, I go out to concerts as much as I can. I think a lot of my money is just spent on seeing artists I'd like. But yeah, I think it's a good memory I've had recently at a concert, because I think one that I've enjoyed a lot recently has been, I went to see Ado last year. So if you're not familiar,
I don't think
with
I'm
Ado,
familiar.
she's like this huge, she's this huge singer in Japan. But she's similar to Vtubers, doesn't reveal her face.
Oh, interesting.
And
so is it like a virtual concert or?
No, this was an in-person concert, which is the cool thing. They had her in like a LED cage, so you could only see her silhouette.
Very interesting.
So it's something like stuff like that. I know Yorushka does a similar vibe to it for their live shows, but she was doing like a huge world tour and everything. And because she's faceless, one thing that they did was they locked up everyone's phones.
Oh.
So that they couldn't record them. So you got like those little I'm in high school and not allowed to touch my phone pouches.
Yeah, like the magnetic
everyone,
bags or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So you get those, and they'd be all locked up, and it was honestly like the best concert I've been to, like environment wise.
Not a phone in sight, no recording, everybody just vibing.
Yeah. Everyone's just having a good time. In contrast, I went to see Biba Doobie like the year before, or like literally maybe 6 months prior.
Yeah.
And it was the worst fucking show I'd ever seen. And And it's not because of Biba Doobie. I love Biba Doobie, and I wish I had seen her earlier because I had the chance to see her at open for Claro, before she blew up. I would have definitely enjoyed that a lot more. And her performance was great when I saw her. But everyone was recording on their phones. It's just like, and
That's
it's like, what? You're gonna post this just for the person next to you to like it. That's the only person who's gonna actually see or care about it. They're already at the concert. Just dance. Like, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were both complaining. And then our other friend who was also there was like, no one was dancing.
Oh my god!
It was just a crowd. It was just like, what is going on? Why do you go see this band live if you're not going to move?
No.
So
for real,
it's like the worst fucking thing. And I'll die on a hill complaining about this because I'm like an old fart now at this point. I got called Unk at my open gym the other day, so it's over for me.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I will say this. I think that if a band has a well-established, bootlegging tradition, if they are well inclined to let their fans record or, do bootlegs or all that, I think that's fine. I'm a fan of, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I often see, either the band themselves recording the audio to later post online, or just like somebody else in the crowd doing it. That's all well and good, but I do agree that there's an absurd point to which, if everybody's doing it, then what the fuck is the point of the concert?
Yeah, exactly. I think I can totally understand with like the giz and everything. It's like there's definitely that tradition behind it, but there's also people who understand you're not posting this everywhere. It's like there's no reason to record everything. Someone else has got it, and that's the thing. I think it's particularly bands that get kicked off that get like suddenly popular on TikTok.
Oh yeah,
that have that issue in particular. That was like how Biba Doobie, she had Coffee. That kicked off because of Paufu.
I know that what was
whatever that mix one.
Steve Lacy got fucking pissed at the crowds coming to his concerts after like Bad Habit blew up. I remember, but I don't pay much mind to TikTok.
Yeah, I mean I deleted the app, and thank God I did. But it's you can see like the effects on it. But yeah, it's stuff like that, or even like I love One OK Rock, and I've seen them twice live. The first time I saw them was 2 years ago, and they were in like a medium-sized venue, and it was great. It was like everyone's vibing. I had a complaint about like the people directly in front of me and my partner at the time, because they got pissed at me and the people around us for like starting to mosh. I was like, why are you in the pit? You're in the dead center of the pit. Don't expect to not mosh.
Oh my gosh.
And that was super fun. And then I went to see them like on their last tour, and I couldn't afford pit tickets at the time, so I sat on the bowl. It was like still a great show.
Oh yeah.
But I did have like a complaint watching from above. You could see how many people were just like standing there while like high energy songs were playing. It's like just dance, it's not that hard.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate. I wish there were, especially locally, I wish more people danced at concerts, just for my own ego's sake, to get some sort of reception for my music. But it's fine when people appreciate it like that too.
yeah. I love a good concert, but I also can really, the audience makes or breaks a concert for me.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. One thing I've done more recently and see myself doing a lot more is I end up finding myself at more metal shows.
Oh yeah.
Just because the people there understand if you're not there to record, you're there to throw haymakers and fucking fuck shit up.
Oh my god, yeah. I was at what was it? There was a grunge showcase in my local area, and I went to one night of it. I think There's this one band playing where like somebody in the fucking crowd was just going absolutely wild, like fucking throwing his hands everywhere, like fucking kicking up a storm and like, you know, going hog wild. But he got the mosh going. Like credit to him. Like
Yeah,
fucking everybody
exactly.
was bouncing off the walls of that damn place.
Exactly. I have to like eyeball. I have to like look at. Nowadays, like when I'm at the venue, I'm like eyeballing the people that I think are gonna mosh, and I'm like looking at them like, "You, are we gonna go ham on the next song?"
Oh my god.
And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." So I've only been punched in the throat like 3 or 4 times.
I mean, I'll say, you know,
all good.
I love headbanging, I love grooving and moving to the music, but I never have the courage to initiate a mosh. I will say that.
Nah, it's so much fun. I think.
Yeah.
Again, it comes from like what shows am I used to doing? I went to a show where it was at like a public park, and they were moshing there. We fucked up all the bushes around the stage. I think my shoes were like nice and like a nice pastel pink beforehand.
Oh my god.
And then I left the mosh pit and they were wrecked.
Wow.
So,
gotta love that energy.
It's like, exactly. I love that energy, being able to do that. That's why I like tend to go to like local shows and house shows more often now, just because the energy's there. People are looking to have a good time. They're not looking to record. It's like no one care. Like frankly, we don't care that much about X local band. We just want to have a good time.
Yeah. Oh my god. I need to go to more house shows. I've been wanting to try to get my band to play house shows for a while, just to get more of that energy. Because I think, you know, one of them in particular, we hew more close to like metal, grunge sort of sounds. We could absolutely kill with an intimate place like that. Let's see though. Oh, I guess in non-music related inquiries, I think I was looking on your timeline some time ago, and I remember seeing you. Are you making rice wine? Korean rice wine? Is that makgeolli?
Yeah, makgeolli. I fucked that up so badly.
No.
So yes, yeah, I did make some. I'll use making a quotation mark there because it's not good. I was making some like in preparation for like Christmas and New Year's, because I was like, let's see if I can do this. This would be funny.
Right. Yeah.
It did not taste good. It was stupid sour. I did manage to convince all my family to try some at Christmas though, so I wouldn't go down alone.
Oh man.
But we all spat it out and it was like, yeah, this is not worth it.
How do you even make wine out of rice? Do you like press it down really hard or something, or?
It shouldn't be hard in theory, but it can. I guess it is a little bit hard. The big thing that comes with like making things like that is there's a lot that goes into it. It's in theory it's very simple. It's just you get a grain, you get a yeast, and you get an enzyme to convert the or like you get something with sugars and you convert it to, you get the yeast to ferment it. So with rice wines in particular, with makgeolli, the conversion that you're using something called nuruk, which is an enzyme and then a like wild yeast all together. So the enzyme breaks down the starches, converts it into sugars, which can then be fermented.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, I think what I did wrong with my batch mainly has to do with, I think, the amount of water. I think I put too much water for what was needed.
Ooh.
And so it ended up tasting sour.
I see.
Because there wasn't really much, it wasn't like a proper sugar concentration.
Right.
And I think next time I do it, I'm gonna try a couple of different things. I think I'm definitely gonna go for like filtered water or distilled water.
Yeah.
And then go See if that changes anything on the production of it, because it's like it did have some alcohol, but it did not taste like it should.
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck on the next attempt. You know, God knows it's always intimidating getting into a craft like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a challenge. Mainly, I want to make spit wine, and I don't want it to be as bad. So I'm actually like, the reason I picked it up was like, let's try to figure out something similar to this.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
know?
mean, God, I in theory I know how to make a homemade pizza. I got a recipe from a roommate that I used to live with. We used to do like pizza Sundays where he'd like fucking make a pizza every Sunday. I'd get like my own ingredients, and he'd make enough dough to make me like a personal pizza. It'd be fucking lit.
Oh yeah.
I've wanted to get down and like make my own pizza dough again, but it's just like I don't have the time or the energy or the motivation really.
Yeah, pizza dough and baking is such a different thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so finicky. I do a lot of cooking, and I'm comfortable cooking just random things, figuring out things. Like I've done recipes. I made tteokbokki carbonara the other day, and the way I approached that was literally I just looked at an ingredients list for what do people typically have in this, and then I made it off that. Because it's like cooking so much easier to just eyeball everything, but baking, and I feel to some degree brewing not as much, but like baking definitely is something where it's like you gotta be exact on it, like to a T. Otherwise, you mess up the entire thing.
It's a science for sure. Who are your favorite producers? I don't know. I don't necessarily have one off the top of my head. Historically speaking, it might be somebody like, I don't know, Ted Templeman did some damn good stuff with Van Halen, but I don't know. It's hard to think one off the top of my head. Do you have any particular favorites, BlueSky?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mentioned earlier Dai. He's a guitarist for Pale Dusk, but he's also a producer. He does a lot of like songwriting and works for other people. He was big. He was a big help on the new Bring Me the Horizon album.
Oh, I
see.
see.
As well as he's done like a couple works for Fortnite and stuff like that. He's probably my favorite producer right now. And then, I mean, I like Porter Robinson, fucking amazing songwriter.
Nice.
I hate Ed Sheeran. I don't think he should be helping anybody. But yeah, there's like some people like Dai, like Porter. And then there's a couple other like unknown or like less known like Japanese songwriters and producers that really do some cool stuff. But
I will say,
like, in the forefront.
I will say one producer that comes to mind now that I really like that's active now, Kevin Parker, the guy behind Tame Impala. He makes a fucking sick like psychedelic pop album. Oh my god. Like those Tame Impala records, I mean, they speak for themselves, but he's also done some brilliant work with Ponds, with Melody's Echo Chamber. Fantastic psychedelic pop producer. Let's see. So I guess my final question here, it looks like I think I've asked just about all the other ones. I've been asking my guests recently, you know, because of the chaotic current state of the world, the past few months being, you know, utterly hell to go through, I've been wondering, what sort of music do you like to turn to in times of stress?
Good question. It really depends. I think there's a lot of different music that I will like rely on, or like not rely on, but like will turn to like during times of stress, and it really depends on like what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I with like the amount of music I listen to, I think there's a lot that comes of it. And generally, I mean, you could summarize it by I will listen to music that I like. But it depends on what I'm in the mood for, like how I want to like deal with things. Like I definitely have my very like emotional, very like somber playlist that I'll turn on every once in a while.
Yeah.
Or I'll have some playlists where it's just like I want the most bubblegum shit possible. I want this to be so sweet it gives me fucking diabetes and I like have pancreas failure. Like,
so not
I'll
extreme anger, but
like
you sort of swing yourself into extreme happiness.
Yeah, into extreme happiness, or just like kind of like a blissful bit there, or like even like I love some more ethereal stuff. I have like a whole playlist of like mostly math rock music that's very atmospheric and just kind of like exist and just like remind me of that.
Yeah,
and at the same time, like I will listen to like more angry, more aggressive stuff. So it's all like mood dependent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always interesting, like trying to determine if you need catharsis versus if you just need to be in your feelings.
Yeah, I think. And sometimes I'll just mix them up and just be like, just like back and forth it.
I don't know. Do you have anything that you'd like to discuss? Because I think that's just about all I've got.
Shoot, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think about like stuff that I like talking about. I definitely like. I guess we can go back to concerts a little bit there.
Oh sure, yeah. If you got anything.
Some more notes on that. It's like, yeah, no, it's. I don't know. It's super. I definitely like going to concerts. I think I was talking with some coworkers about like our first concerts that we went to.
Oh yeah.
As like kids or as teenagers.
Yeah, who'd you see?
I don't know if this is gonna be the most embarrassing thing you'll hear from me all day.
Shoot.
But I saw the Wiggles.
Hell yeah.
I saw the Wiggles when I was 3 years old.
Hell
that
yeah.
is the first concert memory I have.
The Wiggles rule,
one of the most
man.
lit concerts ever. So I think I messed myself up for life. Maybe that's why I'm like such a stingy old man about people being on their phones. When I was 3, there weren't cell phones that you could record video on.
Oh my gosh.
all we got to do when the Wiggles came in was like fruit salad, yummy, and just like dance and wiggle our way. Wiggle our wobbles away, you know.
I don't know if I was ever brought to a concert like that super young. My first ever concert that I can remember was when I was a teen, and I went to go see I think it was fucking like the prog rock band at the Tower Theater. And that was a lot of fun. Very I was a huge progressive rock head at the time. Still kind of am, but I was just like really blooming into it then, and like Yes were like my gateway drug into like all those wild bands from the 70s and 60s and what have you.
Were they the ones that did the JoJo?
Yeah, they did Roundabout, and they also they also had a bunch of other I think Iraqi also took from a few other of their songs, but I could be wrong.
No, I think I've heard a little bit of them. I'm not too familiar with their discography. It's interesting though, like to see how prog rock has like a different definition. Too. That's something I love, like looking into, is like music history and stuff. Like to realize punk rock is a subgenre of reggae, essentially.
Yeah, I mean the two were very much intertwined.
Yeah, I mean most modern punk stemmed from like British punk rock, and that developed from like the reggae scene. You had a bunch of Caribbean immigrants in the area, in like areas in the UK, and all the white boys started playing playing with them and enjoying some of the music too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's an interesting thing to see. And at the same time, if you go even further down to like punk rock, you realize like dream pop, that like super glittery bubblegum thing. That's that is a branch of pop, or that is a branch of punk and not pop music. It comes from like shoegaze.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
love finding those little like tidbits of knowledge here and there. It's like, oh yeah,
Music history is
just,
fascinating.
like some random genre.
Yeah, no, I like the primary thing that I like to do on my channel is like these deep dives into like various periods in music history and just seeing like. Because the thing is with art, you know, the thing I love about art history is that every piece of art is like the snapshot of the culture in which it was made. So like I love going back and like taking a look at like how like, for instance, I did a series on like the decline of Kiss from like the late 70s into the early 80s, and it was like basically exploring how with each album in that period they sort of strayed away from the core conception of what essentially made them popular to begin with. It's fascinating going back and like finding all this, I don't know, that like it's like I guess evidence to support my narrative is kind of a shady way to frame it, but it is true in a sense. Like history is all narrative.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of stories to like be told through music, and I agree with you. Like albums are usually representative of the time, especially with like pop music. They'll be representative. Like, what do people like at this time? Like, I think if you look at like what's popular now, music-wise, it's a lot of Afro-Cuban rhythms.
Yeah.
Like Afro-Caribbean.
Right, yeah.
And you're getting a lot of like more. You're seeing a lot more Latino artists popping up in just like the mainstream too. Like you'll have like Bad Bunny, had a huge come up.
I'm fascinated by the
into,
explosion
like,
of like regional Mexican music. I think that's fascinating that it's charting so highly recently.
Yeah, Peso Pluma was the big one from this
year.
Yeah. I don't really listen to him, but I have some coworkers who do, and it's like,
yeah. Now it's just like it's fascinating seeing how much diverse like. How many diverse sounds are on the charts these days? Like, not to say that I'm an avid pop listener, but like it definitely feels like we're at a more sonically diverse time than at least I remember growing up.
Yeah, I think a lot of the connections that we're getting, in addition to being like sonically diverse, I think it's representative of like the globalization. I think if you look back at like what was available, what people were being influenced by, it's just we have more access to these smaller artists or these smaller music markets.
Absolutely.
What the music market in the West is dominated by the U.S. and then before that it was UK, some Australia coming in.
Yeah.
But it's primarily those markets because that's where music listeners live. But now with like the internet, with what we have, we can bring in Latin America, gets a lot of influence, and a lot of pop songs start bringing that in, like the Scotch snaps, like da 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 da, like clave rhythms coming in. To like
city pop revival would not exist without the internet.
City pop revival is a huge example of it. And then you have things like Eurovision, where you get an idea of like just like the creativity. Music. Like obviously Eurovision I don't think represents well the music markets that the countries are doing.
Right.
You get these artists that are you get these artists that you wouldn't necessarily see otherwise.
No, Eurovision is interesting. There's this one YouTube channel that I found recently that does a lot of Eurovision coverage, and it's interesting seeing like all the different factors that go into like entries there, you know? I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge Eurovision buff. I think I don't know. I think some of the sounds, at least in the past, were relatively boring, but it is a fascinating process.
And that's something I've like you can see like change. Like I think Eurovision initially was definitely something that people were like, oh yeah, who can write the best pop song in Europe?
Yeah.
And then they realized, like, if it's writing the best pop song in Europe or the best pop song in general, it's gonna just be formulaic. Everyone sounds the same.
Yeah.
And then they started bringing in like these other artists, like bring a fresh sound. Like there's like all sorts of artists. You have the Finnish dude who did like the metal cha-cha.
Oh my god, yeah. It's
like
fascinating.
The metal cha-cha song. I was like, what?
It's fascinating when they bring in metal artists. I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, even to some degree, though, that's just a big reflection of like what does Finland value music-wise. I know.
Oh yeah.
The Baltic states are huge into metal, like Finland, Sweden, Norway, even like Latvia and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's big metal scenes there, and it's they picked the most obscure artists they could find. There's still some representation of like, what do you value as a culture? Right.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. I definitely need to familiarize myself more with Eurovision. I'm not necessarily, I don't know if it's my cup of tea necessarily, but it is an interesting historical thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even watch that much of it. I get like it's summed up on every once in a while. I think more than anything, I dive into like music from my perspective as a musician. I'm diving into like where can I see things come up, where can I find people's influences, stuff like that. Porter Robinson had Knock Yourself Out, their little like the little lead on that like I ended up just randomly finding that The Pillows, a Japanese punk band, was the main influence for that.
Oh,
because
that's fun.
It's like I have the song up here. But they had a song that was basically the same lead.
Yeah,
literally the same tone of synth, but it was made like years prior. And it's just like, oh, you can hear that so much.
Hell yeah.
In there, or like, it's
always fun tracing
so
influences like that.
Yeah, exactly. Galileo Galilei. I mentioned they were like my favorite band. Some of their newer album stuff is very heavily inspired by the 1975.
Oh, interesting.
And a lot of that like 80s pop kind of thing. I hate Maddie Healy. I love the band. hate the people behind it.
Right. Yeah.
But you can hear like in their newer albums the influence that comes in, and it's something that they also did like covers of 1975 songs when they were like on hiatus and stuff.
Right.
Or like with other projects that had the same people but a different name. It's you can definitely see that influence coming through, seeing things like that. And I always love to see like how do you take and interpret what you're hearing in music, and how do you bring that into another market or into another genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a big thing I used to have like a document of just for fun. I made like a spreadsheet of like different Japanese bands I liked and what is their equivalent in the West.
Yeah.
Like if you compared them to someone in the West, who would they be, and how accurate of a representation would that be? And a lot of times they have like these like direct equivalents that obviously they're not the same people, but like you can definitely see a connection between their music and other people. Asian Kung Fu Generation definitely takes strong influence from Weezer, and they popped up around the same time. It's stuff like that.
I'll tell you what.
Always cool to make those connections.
I'll tell you, kind of, I guess the last thing to leave this stream on. One of those similar connections that I've stumbled across doing my own research for my videos is, have you ever heard of the group Bow Wow at all?
I've heard of them. I have not listened to them.
They are.
I've heard the name before.
They're fascinating. They're essentially the Japanese Van Halen, in that they were like one of the first like major, I guess, hard rock bands in the country to really take the charts there by storm. And their front man, their lead guitarist Kyoji Yamamoto. He's an absolute monster on guitar. I would definitely recommend checking out what was it? Their first 3 albums, and then in the 80s they put out another 3 that are super fantastic.
Okay, yeah. I mean, always love listening to like even older Japanese stuff, like city pop, some older like rock.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting, like what they were doing. Like even back when city pop was the dominant sound, like going and hearing like Japanese metal in the 80s was really fascinating.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so much music coming out from there. Just
Bow Wow
80s,
Wow?
90s,
No,
early
not
2000s.
not Bow Wow Wow. Bow Wow. Not Bow Wow Wow. Bow Wow. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on to today's stream, 3Ski. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Where can people best find you? Do you want me to link your YouTube or your Twitch?
Yeah, I mean it's a mix of both. Definitely more active on Twitch just because I don't post covers as often.
Okay.
But yeah, you can post either or. I'll say them all verbally. But yeah, my name is 3Ski. I produce music, I sing songs, and I stream gacha games. Unfortunately, you can catch me. You can catch me on my YouTube channel at 3Ski. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/3skibobo, 3SKIBOBO, and also on Twitter under 3skibobo, and then at 3ski.ch on BlueSky.
All right. Well, thank you so much, 3Ski. Again, it's been a fantastic conversation tonight. Go check him out. He makes some brilliant arrangements of Japanese rock songs. And yeah, thank you to everybody in chat who stopped by tonight. Thanks all. Wishing you a kick-ass new year. Thank you, Jukebox Cowboy, for coming to the stream, and I wish you a happy new year as well. And thank you, RC. If you guys want to join me, I think I'm going to try to redirect to another stream here. If there's anybody still alive that I can dump y'all off in. Nah, I think we'll just send it off here. Okay. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll have more news soon, probably about the glam metal script. Making great progress on that, and hopefully I should be more than halfway through that. Yeah, I guess have a happy new year, you guys, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.